Transfer season at Leeds United has been nothing short of a roller coaster. And not the fun kind. It's been frustrating, dragging on, and downright painful for fans who keep seeing names being thrown around without a single concrete move getting over the line. Week after week, the same cycle repeats. Links surface, excitement builds, and then silence. But over the last few days, we finally started to see a little movement, just enough to spark hope, but still wrapped in enough uncertainty to make any supporter nervous. And when we're talking about transfers, let's be honest, the striker position is the elephant in the room, the area that simply has to be addressed if Leeds want to be competitive in the Premier League this season. Now, let's dive into the name that just won't go away, Rodrigo Muniz. At this point, he's almost become a mythological figure among Leeds supporters. He's the guy we've been linked with the most this summer, the so-called priority target up top. And when you watch him play, you understand why. Muniz has that rare mix of physicality, technique, and confidence in front of goal that makes him a real threat. But here's the issue, and it's a big one, the price tag. Fulham aren't letting him go for cheap. In fact, the last reported figure is close to 50 million euros, which once you convert it pushes the deal past the 40 million pounds dollar mark. That would absolutely smash Leeds United's transfer record. Not just edge past it, obliterate it. So the question is Rodrigo Muniz really worth that kind of financial stretch? That kind of move is not just a signing, it's a statement. It's the kind of commitment that ties a manager's job to a player's performance. And sure, the upside is clear, but Leeds fans have seen too many next big things turn into costly flops. There's also the added pressure of competition. Newcastle have shown interest. Atalanta are in the mix too, especially after selling Ademola Lookman. And Atalanta have already had an offer rejected, reportedly in the range of 34.5 million euros. Fulham are holding out for more, and honestly, who can blame them? Muniz is young, has Premier League experience, and still has room to grow. But that doesn't mean Leeds should be the ones footing the bill if it starts to spiral. What complicates things further is how vocal the club has been about their interest. Every few days, we hear again that he's still the #1 striker target. And while it's fine to be transparent about your ambitions, there comes a point where repeating that line becomes counterproductive. Fans start asking, well, if he's the main target, why haven't we got him yet? And rival clubs know you're desperate, which only drives the price up further. At some point, you have to pivot, you have to be flexible. It's fine to chase your top choice, but if the deal becomes financially irresponsible or drags on too long, you must move on. And moving on might not be such a bad idea, especially when you look at some of the alternatives that have surfaced recently. One name in particular caught our attention, Nicolas Gonzalez. Now, this is a player currently at Juventus, and while he hasn't quite broken into the starting 11 regularly, there's a lot to like about his profile. First off, he's incredibly versatile. He's not just a number 9, he can play across the front line, and that flexibility is golden for a club like Leeds who are trying to reshape their attack. He's quick, smart in his movement, and has a sharp eye for goal. But he's also suffered a bit from the sheer quality of his teammates. When you're in the same squad as players like Dusan Vlahovic or Jonathan David, chances are you're going to spend a lot of time watching from the bench. And that's not necessarily a knock on Gonzalez, it's more of a reflection of Juventus's current ambitions. They're in full rebuild mode, trying to get back to the top of Serie A after being overtaken by the likes of Napoli, Inter, and even Atalanta at times. So they're investing in players who are ready to deliver trophies now. Jonathan David fits that mold. Gonzalez, on the other hand, is more of a project. But that doesn't mean he isn't a serious talent. Just look at his numbers before arriving in Turin. Back at Fiorentina, he was much more involved. 57 goal contributions in 125 appearances is not a stat line you ignore. That's a player who knows how to impact games when given the right platform. At Juventus, he managed 9 goal contributions across 38 appearances, which doesn't scream world-class, but context matters. Most of those appearances were from the bench, late substitutions, or being played out of position. Juventus have been notoriously rigid in their attacking structure recently, funneling most of their attacking efforts through their primary striker. That kind of system doesn't always allow wide players or second strikers to shine. And that's where Leeds come in. A more fluid, high-energy system could bring the best out of a player like Gonzalez, especially if he's given a bit more creative freedom and consistent minutes on the pitch. The reported asking price? Around £26 million. Not cheap, but a lot more reasonable than Mooney's. And when you look at the wage structure, it becomes even more interesting. Gonzalez is reportedly earning £58,000 per week, which is manageable by Premier League standards. Of course, he'd probably want a raise to make the move, but it's within the club's reach. It's not the kind of demand that would throw the wage bill into chaos. More importantly, this is the type of player who ticks a lot of boxes that Leeds have been trying to fill. Energy, versatility, potential resale value, and the kind of attitude that fans will get behind. Word is he's got a high work rate, plays with real grit and aggression, and isn't afraid to put his body on the line. All traits that suit the Elland Road environment to a T. But the striker carousel doesn't stop there. Other names are still floating around, and some just won't disappear. Like Alexander Mitrovic. Now look, Mitrovic is a name that splits opinion. There's no denying the guy can finish. When he's on his game, he's deadly in front of goal. But is he what Leeds actually need? That's up for debate. He's not the most mobile. He's not a natural presser. And when you're trying to build a modern, high-tempo, high-energy attack, you need more than just a poacher. You need someone who can stretch defenses, drop deep, press intelligently. Someone who brings more than just goals. And to be honest, Leeds already have Joel Pero, who brings a similar profile but with just as many limitations. Injury concerns also play a role here. Mitrovic has had his fair share of knocks and setbacks, and the last thing Leeds need is another key player spending half the season in the treatment room. The focus should be on finding a forward who fits the system, not just the stat sheet. That's why someone like Muniz, despite the inflated price, remains appealing. He offers movement, pressing ability, and technical skills that suit a modern attacking setup. Dalbec over at Roma is another name that's come up. He's more of an old-school number 9, not particularly quick but instinctive in the box. A true poacher. But again, it's about balance. The Premier League is unforgiving. You need forwards who can do more than just score when the ball falls to their feet. You need players who make things happen. There's also another intriguing profile in the mix, Van. A player who brings a bit more dynamism, more movement, and seems more comfortable leading the line in a pressing system. But as with all transfers, nothing is certain until it's signed, sealed, and delivered. That's the reality of the window. One day you're leading the race for a player, the next day he's posing with another team's scarf. It's a brutal, fast-moving game, and as it stands, Leeds are still trying to get their pieces in place. But the fans, they're done waiting. The time for talking is over. It's time for action. As we look deeper into this transfer saga surrounding Leeds United, it becomes increasingly clear that the club is operating under immense pressure. There's a sense that every move, every negotiation, and every hesitation is being magnified not just by the media, but by a fan base that has grown tired of near misses and long-drawn talks that lead nowhere. Supporters are desperate for clarity, for commitment, and most importantly, for results. And that demand is especially loud when it comes to the striker position. Because in football, few things define a team's season more than the player wearing the number 9 shirt. We can talk tactics, we can talk formations, but if the ball isn't hitting the back of the net, nothing else matters. That's why every name being linked to Elland Road right now is being scrutinized so closely. And it's also why the club has to be incredibly precise in how they approach these final few weeks of the window. Mistakes made now will echo throughout the season. You bring in the wrong striker, and suddenly you're struggling to convert chances, the pressure piles on the midfield, the defense gets exposed, and the fans lose patience. But get the right one, and everything changes. Confidence spreads, results improve, and suddenly that top half finish doesn't seem so far-fetched. Now, let's not pretend it's easy. Leeds are not operating with an unlimited budget. They can't throw money around the way the traditional top 6 can. So when a target like Rodrigo Muniz comes with a price tag of over £40 million, it forces the club to take a step back and evaluate every detail, not just the player's quality, but his fit within the squad, his injury history, his attitude, and even the resale value down the line. These are the kinds of decisions that define a sporting director's career. And fans might not see all the internal conversations, but they feel the impact every match day. That brings us back to Nicolas Gonzalez. Now, here's a player that offers a lot of what Leeds are currently lacking. He's not just quick, he's direct. He doesn't just play wide, he attacks space with purpose. And perhaps most importantly, he carries a certain intensity that mirrors the ethos of Leeds United. We're talking about a club that prides itself on high-energy football, that relentless pressing style that suffocates the opposition and turns defense into attack in seconds. Gonzalez thrives in systems that demand that kind of work rate. That's what made him so effective at Fiorentina and what made his performances stand out in European competitions. Even when he wasn't scoring, he was affecting games. So why hasn't he exploded at Juventus? It comes down to opportunity and structure. Juventus haven't exactly been known for free-flowing, expansive, attacking football in recent years. Their focus has been on structure, discipline, and control, often at the expense of creativity. In that environment, a player like Gonzalez can get lost. He's not the kind of wide player who hugs the touchline and waits for the ball. He needs freedom to roam, to drift inside, to combine with overlapping fullbacks or a dynamic number 10. Leeds could offer him that kind of system. And in doing so, unlock a player who's been stuck in second gear. The numbers back this up. While his return of 9 goal contributions last season might not jump off the page, it's the minutes played and the context that matter. He was used inconsistently, often as a late substitute, and still managed to create moments of danger. Compare that to his output at Fiorentina, where he was a regular starter. You start to see the real picture. This is a player with goals in him. With the right coaching and a run of games, Gonzalez could easily become a double-digit goal contributor in the Premier League. And when you consider the transfer fee, he represents solid value. £26 million is a hefty investment, but not one that breaks the club's structure. In fact, it's the kind of signing that could pay off significantly in both performance and future value. Another factor that can't be ignored is the mentality of the player. Reports from those close to Juventus describe Gonzalez as a fighter, someone who doesn't shrink under pressure, and that's exactly the kind of personality you need in a Leeds shirt. This isn't a club for the timid. It's a club where effort is non-negotiable, where the crowd expects you to leave everything on the pitch. Gonzalez, by all accounts, ticks that box. He's got fire, he's got grit, and more importantly, he seems to be hungry to prove himself, especially after a frustrating spell in Italy. But while Gonzalez might be the most sensible option, the market continues to move quickly. Other targets are being discussed, and Leeds are clearly casting a wide net. One name that keeps resurfacing is Dovbyk, a traditional striker with good instincts in the box. He's a more classic center forward, maybe not the flashiest, but reliable. He knows where the goal is. He doesn't need many chances, and for some systems, that's ideal. The problem? He might not suit the high pressing system Leeds are trying to implement. He's not the quickest, he's not known for covering ground. And while that's not a deal breaker, it does raise concerns about how he'd link up with the rest of the attack. Then we have the Mitrovic situation. It refuses to go away, despite a general lack of enthusiasm from large parts of the fan base. On paper, his scoring record is impressive. When fit and focused, he can bully defenders and score in bunches. But the Premier League is evolving. Strikers can't just stand around and wait for service anymore. They have to be involved in the build-up. They have to press from the front. They have to run the channels. Mitrovic might have been a smart signing 5 or 6 years ago, but now it feels like a mismatch, a short-term fix that could turn into a long-term headache. And then there's the injury concern. Leeds can't afford another high-profile signing who spends more time in the medical room than on the pitch. They need players with durability, players who can handle the intensity of Premier League football. And while every signing carries risk, some carry more than others. Mitrovic, despite his talent, is one of those risks. Looking ahead, it's clear the club needs to make a decision, and fast. The window is closing, the season is approaching, and fans want answers. The good news is that there's no shortage of options. The bad news is that none of them are straightforward. Whether it's Muniz, Gonzalez, Dovbyk, or someone else entirely, the club needs to commit. No more half measures, no more. We're monitoring the situation because in football, timing is everything. Wait too long and you miss your chance. Move too soon and you overpay. It's a delicate balance and one that requires both courage and clarity. But beyond the numbers and tactics, there's a deeper question here. What kind of team does Leeds United want to be? Are they looking to build a young, dynamic squad that can grow together over the next few years? Or are they chasing immediate results, even if that means compromising long-term strategy? The answer to that question will determine who they sign. Players like Gonzalez and Muniz fit the former. Mitrovic feels more like the latter, and that's where the front office has to be crystal clear, because nothing derails a season faster than a confused identity. If the goal is to be aggressive, energetic, and future-facing, then the recruitment must reflect that. Bring in players who are hungry, who have something to prove, and who can elevate the team both now and in the future. That's how you build momentum. That's how you build a squad that doesn't just survive in the Premier League. It competes. And right now, that's all Leeds fans want. A team they can believe in. Players they can rally behind. No more long-winded transfer sagas. No more promises that don't materialize. Just action, just ambition, and the kind of clarity that says this is who we are. This is what we're building. And we're not settling for anything less. Until then, all eyes stay glued to the news feeds. All ears tuned in for the next credible update. Because whether it's Muniz finally getting over the line, Gonzalez being given the platform he deserves, or a wildcard name bursting onto the scene, one thing is for sure. Leeds need their striker. Not tomorrow, not next week, now. But before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the like button on this video. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on Leeds United, and make sure to share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you. Ethan AMPADU's sudden announcement of his departure from Leeds has sent shockwaves through the football community, igniting a whirlwind of speculation and excitement among fans and analysts alike. The young defender, known for his versatility and composure on the ball, has been a cornerstone of Leeds' defensive setup since joining the club. Rumors have been swirling for weeks, but the confirmation of his exit has turned mere whispers into a full-blown frenzy. Fans are left wondering about the timing and the motives behind such a surprising decision, especially given his integral role in the team's recent campaigns. Questions abound regarding which clubs are lining up to secure his signature and how this unexpected move will impact Leeds' plans for the upcoming season. The timing of the announcement has only fueled the fire, with some insiders suggesting behind-the-scenes negotiations that could reshape the club's defensive strategies. As the rumor mills churn, speculation grows about potential destinations that match AMPADU's ambitions and playing style, with several top-flight teams reportedly expressing keen interest. The buzz is palpable, and the football world is watching closely to see how this narrative unfolds, with many eager to learn what lies ahead for the promising defender. In light of Ethan AMPADU's decision to leave Leeds, discussions have intensified regarding the financial and strategic implications for both the player and the club. Leeds, a team that has often battled financial constraints, might see this move as an opportunity to capitalize on AMPADU's market value, which has been steadily rising due to his performances and versatility. Industry insiders suggest that the transfer fee could significantly bolster Leeds' transfer budget, allowing the club to pursue reinforcements in other critical areas. On the other hand, AMPADU's departure raises concerns about the defensive solidity Leeds might lose, prompting questions about the club's readiness to replace such a key figure. The potential ripple effects extend beyond Leeds, as rival clubs are said to be strategizing how to exploit the situation, either by bidding for AMPADU or by strengthening their defenses in anticipation. This dynamic situation underscores the complex interplay between player ambitions, club finances, and competitive tactics in modern football. Moreover, the timing within the transfer window adds pressure on all parties to finalize deals swiftly, making the coming days critical for shaping the future landscape of the Premier League's defensive lineups. Amid the frenzy surrounding Ethan AMPADU's exit from Leeds, various theories and rumors have emerged regarding his possible next destination, each fueling excitement and debate among football enthusiasts. Speculation has pointed toward a handful of elite clubs across Europe that might offer AMPADU the platform to further develop his career at the highest level. Among the most discussed prospects are teams from the English Premier League itself, where his familiarity with the league and proven track record could make him an attractive target. Other whispers hinted interest from top-tier clubs in Spain, Italy, and Germany, where tactical systems might better suit his skill set and versatility. These rumors highlight the strategic considerations that players and their agents weigh when choosing their next step, balancing competitive challenges, playing time, and career progression. The buzz also suggests that Leeds could be open to negotiating with multiple suitors, leveraging the situation to secure the best possible deal. As the footballing world holds its breath, fans eagerly await confirmation or denial of these rumors, aware that whichever direction AMPADU takes could have a significant impact not only on his own trajectory, but also on the competitive dynamics within European football. The unexpected nature of AMPADU's announcement has also led to a surge in social media activity, with fans, pundits, and former players weighing in on what this means for Leeds and the player's future. The digital sphere has become a battleground of opinions where supporters express both shock and excitement, while experts dissect the potential consequences for team tactics and league standings. Some voices argue that AMPADU's move might signal a shift in Leeds' ambitions, possibly indicating a rebuilding phase that focuses on nurturing young talent or acquiring experienced players in different positions. Others speculate that the defender's decision could be motivated by a desire to compete in European competitions, which Leeds has struggled to qualify for consistently. The conversation also extends to AMPADU's own career goals, with many highlighting his adaptability and the possibility that a move could elevate him to new heights, both domestically and internationally. This lively discourse captures the essence of football's emotional and unpredictable nature, where a single player's decision can ripple through the sports ecosystem, affecting not just the clubs involved, but also the global fan base eager for the next big development. As the football community continues to digest the news of AMPADU's departure from Leeds, the broader implications for the Premier League and international football are becoming increasingly apparent. Should AMPADU join a rival Premier League club, the balance of power within the league could shift, intensifying competition and creating new tactical challenges for teams facing his former side. Conversely, a move abroad might open doors for other emerging talents within Leeds to step up, potentially altering the club's youth development strategy and long-term vision. On the international stage, AMPADU's career trajectory could influence his role within his national team setup, especially if the move leads to increased visibility and higher level competition. The ongoing buzz around his transfer also highlights the intricate relationship between player mobility and club strategies in a market driven by ambition, financial considerations, and sporting objectives. Ultimately, the story of AMPADU's departure is a compelling example of how a single transfer rumor can spark widespread anticipation and debate, reflecting the vibrant and ever-changing landscape of modern football, where every decision resonates far beyond the pitch. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep getting exclusive news about Leeds United, be sure to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. We always look forward to reading your comments and opinions. See you in the next video, Leeds fans.